Hey guys, welcome back to another VOD review on how to climb into Platinum. Now, this is on one of my solo queue accounts that's currently Gold 2, almost Gold 1, and I'm looking to get it into Plat in the next few games. So this VOD review is really going to be focusing on ganking and how, even as, you know, a jungler that can be known as a relatively weak jungler, so Zac, in the early game, in terms of, you know, he really needs that level 3, ideally a couple of shots, a couple of levels in his slingshot to actually be effective. I'm going to show you how to gank as often as possible while not falling behind your enemy jungler. So basically, jungle efficiency in the terms of clearing camps, getting objectives, and helping out your lanes as much as possible. So I'm going to quickly go into the runes right now. Okay guys, so as you can see, I'm playing Zac this game into Fiddlesticks, and basically, I'm the tank of the team, I'm the engage of the team, I'm the main CC source of the team. What I need to do is be as tanky as possible while still having a nice, solid mid-late game and a strong, relatively strong early game. But what I'm going to make up for in my early game is ganking a lot with a couple of runes that are actually going to help me push myself in terms of strength into the mid and late game. So Aftershock, classic on Zac. Obviously, you can go Conqueror, but I really recommend Aftershock, particularly when your team needs a tank. If you are going to go Conqueror on Zac, I'd recommend only doing it when you're playing him in either mid lane or top lane, but again, those are super niche scenarios. I go Font of Life, so impairing, because Zac has 3 instances of CC. He's got his Q, which is a knock up, his E, which is a knock up, and his ult, which is a knock up. All 3 of these I use and actually proc Font of Life, so this gives your team a lot of healing, particularly when the AD carry on the team is my duo queue partner. This is going to help him out a lot. It heals for 5 plus 1% of your max health over 2 seconds, which is really nice for them, particularly when we've got a Lulu as well. Obviously, conditioning. So this got nerfed a couple of patches ago, and it went from 10 minutes to 12 minutes now, but I still think it's one of the best scaling runes in here. Obviously, you could go Bone Plating, which is quite strong, but as a jungler, Bone Plating isn't that good. While it's probably up for every gank you do, generally you go Bone Plating when you're getting ganked a lot. So conditioning I like because it scales really well, and I know I'm going to be building a lot of armor and magic resist, so the passive that increases your armor and magic resist by 5% with conditioning is going to help me out a lot this game. Obviously, Revitalize, because Zac is constantly healing by picking up his blobs, so this is really good. It ends up healing you quite a lot of health over the long term of the game, and actually saves me a couple of times, as you'll see in this VOD review. And then Magical Footwear, because I know I'm going to gank a lot, I know I'm going to get these relatively early, and junglers like Zac don't really need boots just because of how mobile they are and the access points or niche areas where they can gank without needing extra movement speed because of his slingshot. Cosmic Insight, because it's really nice in terms of smite cooldown, flash cooldown, but also overall cooldown. And, you know, your max cooldown cap goes up to 45%. While I don't think I hit this game, I do also go scaling CDR, I go armor, and then I go scaling health, because again, Zac doesn't really need damage, particularly in this team comp. Anyway, let's get back into the VOD review. Okay, so we're back from the runes, and you can see what my runes are now, so I don't need to explain those any further. Now, matchups. Teemo Irelia. So naturally, Teemo should win this lane with, you know, in a even 1v1. You should think that Teemo's going to win that one. However, in this game, I actually understand that, okay, if I can get Teemo ahead, maybe just 1 or 2 ganks in, he can then develop his own really substantial lead in lane that he can then use to influence the other lanes. For mid lane, Talon versus Rumble. If I can help Talon out, he can then out-roam Rumble and hopefully get off some really good ganks either in the bot lane or top lane because of Talon's natural ability to roam really well. Finally, in the bot lane, we've got Lulu and Ezreal. Now, I'm actually on comms with the Ezreal, so he's my duo queue partner, and we're on comms saying that all he needs to do in this comp is outscale, because we know Varus has gone Comet, and Comet Varus is really strong in laning phase, but it drops off as you get into the late game. So I tell my friend, you'll get to see whether he listens or not. I tell my friend, hey, if you can just survive laning phase, you're going to outscale the Varus. I'll try and come bot a couple of times, but I really want to focus on getting this Teemo ahead and ideally getting this Talon roaming so that he can then help me influence every other lane. Anyway, let's get back into the game. Obviously, Zac Fiddle. I have a very easy gank phase, laning phase. Pretty much every phase of the game, I have a very easy time against Fiddle. Fiddle doesn't have much kill potential on a Zac purely because of my tankiness, my mobility, and my CC, as well as my passive, which puts me into the blobs, making it even harder for me to kill. So let's get back into the game. So I always use this ward placement because as we know, Fiddle can do a 2-buff start. So with the new Fiddle, he can actually clear red buff and Raptors at the same time. So regardless of whether he actually does this at level 1, I can immediately tell that, okay, if Fiddle's starting red buff, I'm going to see him start red buff. And what this basically does, this ward allows me to effectively track Fiddle for the first 5 minutes of the game. Because if Fiddle starts here, he's going to either go this clear side, full clear side, and then rotate to top. But either way he does, he's not going to come back to his bot jungle if he starts here until he clears his top jungle or until he resets. So you can basically track off knowing where your enemy jungler starts on camp. So all you have to do is understand where they start. So even if you don't have vision, as long as you see them, 5 seconds before head towards blue buff or have vision on the buff they don't do, you can understand where your enemy jungler is starting and therefore use that to track him roughly where he's going to be, what lanes he's going to gank first, when his first back time is going to be, what camps he's clearing, and use that information to impact the game. Do I want to gank here? Do I want to counter gank him? Do I want to counter jungle him while I know he's in top side jungle, etc, etc. Anyway, let's get back into the game. So I'm going to fast forward this. Obviously my team see the invade here, which actually allows me to get off this ward. So I do the classic back, and obviously I switch for my sweepers and then immediately come back to red side because I want to start here. Now notice that red sweeper is going to be up from cooldown by the time this camp spawns. And notice what I do. Because they invaded us, I know they have vision on here, and I know Varus can potentially steal this buff. So look what I do. As soon as my sweeper's up, I use it to clear this vision. Not because I know Varus is going to steal this, but because I understand, well, Varus is probably gotten Q level 1. He has a really good chance to either steal my red buff from here, here, or here. So I'm going to clear vision, so it's pretty much a guessing game on if he can get this or not. Now, he plays it quite smart in that he goes here to block it. It's to hide his vision. But as you can see, I immediately, as soon as this is within pretty much kill range of him, so he probably needs this to be about 200 to 150, I immediately stop attacking and wait for him to shoot his shot because I know he doesn't have vision, so he's just playing a guessing game here. We see it go through, it only does 50 damage, and then I go off to clearing and finishing the camp. Now, you also need to be aware of that I now know enemy Fiddle started here, but also they know where I started in the jungle as well. So now I look for my first gank at level 2. Although they know where I am, I see Rumble is clearly pushed up, and again, one of my laning win conditions that I identified was, if I can get my Talon ahead, he can therefore roam and help relieve the pressure of me having to gank every single lane. We can then getting myself and Talon to start ganking lanes, either together or one at a time, adding pressure, global pressure, and particularly early game pressure to the enemy team. So unfortunately, Talon doesn't really respond very well to this. He could have queued and then ignited here. Instead, he just takes 2 turret hits. So immediately that tells me, okay, this Talon is a bit lost. He's probably not the best player. So I make a mental note that, okay, this Talon could have easily gotten first blood there. I need to now take that into account when I'm next ganking him, when I'm next prioritizing his lane. that, okay, maybe this Talon isn't the best player, maybe he's having an off game, or maybe he's just not in this game mentally, so I need to take that into account now whenever I interact with him in the future. Now, we saw Teemo got first blood, which again, I identified as a win condition. If Teemo can get ahead, which he should naturally against Irelia, it can make this game a lot easier. So I do a general clear, I do this side clear, obviously, clear my wolves, and then do the 2 buff pull, I believe. Yes, I do the 2 buff pull so I can clear 2 camps at once. Zach does this really easily. Obviously, Fiddle now, we don't really have vision of where he is, except we know his red buff's gone, which we already knew. So he's probably done a full top side clear, and now he's coming over to do his bot side quadrant. And as you can see, I'm actually up CS against Fiddle, and I've also gotten 1 gank off and no summoner burnt, but I've made Rumble reset and therefore use his teleport, which is a really good win in my condition. I identify gank success not just off kills or assists, but I identify a successful gank off, did I help relieve pressure on my ally? Did I burn a summoner spell? Did I reset the wave? Did I force the enemy mid laner to back? Did I take a chunk of his health? All these things I identify as a successful gank. Obviously, it's not as good as if you can get a kill or burn a flash, but all these things are still successful, and I use these to encourage myself to go, okay, even though that gank didn't work out, you know, I didn't get a kill, Talon didn't ignite and get the first blood, I was still able to get him in a really good wave position where now he's coming back with a really nice wave position and also a pretty even CS, and Rumbles had to burn teleport. I consider that a successful gank in my books, particularly because I'm even still ahead of the Fiddle, even though I did that gank. So, I go to clear I always get scuttles, because they're super important vision. Obviously, they have vision of me here, but I don't know the Fiddle ward is here yet. But I walk around, and now I see it. That's all good. Yet Irelia still engages here. So I walk back, obviously now, not knowing that Rumble came here, but knowing that he did path here. So I use my sweepers to clear vision. Again, Talon also helping me clear vision. And then I immediately look back to top lane because I see, okay, my Teemo's low, Irelia's low as well, but Teemo has a pushing wave right now. Look at how many minions Irelia has pushing, and look at how many we have pushing, but also look at how aggressive Irelia is playing. Irelia needs to get back into this game by either getting a kill on the Teemo or by out-CSing him. So right now he's majorly out-CSing the Teemo, but he also wants a kill. So this is a basic over-greed by Irelia. All she needs to do is stay above Teemo in CS, and she'll eventually win this lane because she will outscale the Teemo in terms of damage. Not necessarily in terms of utility, but instead, this is in gold. So players don't always think like that they can just freeze and scale. They are always trying to over-push an advantage or try and get back into the game. So I take this into account. I know that Teemo is a good player because he managed to get first blood without me even ganking. And now I sit and wait. Waiting for Teemo to bait it. We now know Irelia's warded there. And now we can see Irelia's posturing quite aggressively. By using her dashes, we can tell she's trying to get this Teemo. Teemo baits it really well. So really well played by Teemo. And we get the kill. I then notice what I do. I then help him push out his wave so that he can get a nice reset. But also Irelia loses the majority of this CS to turret so that we can now bring back this CS deficit of 12 to a more acceptable standard for Teemo. So the gank gets him ahead by I give Teemo the kill on purpose, but then I also help the Teemo even further by helping him clear his wave so he gets an optimal reset, but also making sure that Irelia then misses out on this entire wave of CS and XP. ultimately putting Teemo twice as much ahead in the lane as he was before the gank. And that's basically doing as much as you can with every gank you can do. And now again, look, I don't go to clear my camps because I don't care. I go immediately straight back to looking for another gank. Because I know, again, if I can get this Talon ahead, we can actually really start influencing the map. And if we're doing a quick stat check, I'm now 10 CS behind, but I've participated in 2 kills for my team, as well as helped my team push out their waves. And again, notice what I do. I help my laner push out his wave so that he can get a good reset, but also so I can protect him against this Fiddle. We don't know what level Fiddle is. We haven't seen him in a while, so I need to respect that, but also respect that my Talon needs this CS, so I'm not going to steal the CS. All I'm going to do is help him push it out, and ideally him get the reset. Now, what Talon doesn't realize is this wave is actually going to freeze in favor of Rumble. So what I do is I ping assistance, aka help me clear this wave. He doesn't decide to do it, or he comes a bit too late, so I end up clearing it, taking all the gold or as much gold as I can, obviously missing a lot, and there he goes. He responds, takes a bit of the CS, and then he overextends here, which I don't think's that good, but he ends up getting a turret plating for it, and given how mobile Talon is, it's fine. So I then realized that, okay, Fiddle's taken my Raptors, and so I immediately go to clear my Krugs, the only camp in the game that I haven't cleared yet. Making sure you clear all your camps so that their level resets when they next spawn, giving you more XP. Now, I notice Rumble has roamed after pushing this wave because Talon overextended and greeted for the turret plating when all he needed to do was reset. So now I'm cautious that, okay, we don't know where Fiddle is. His blue buff is probably spawning relatively soon. And we also don't know where Rumble is. So instead of backing here, when I'm on 1700 gold, I see that Rumble uses the Scrying Bloom on here. And I also see that Lulu and Ezreal right now are getting ganked. So we see the Rumble. I ignore the Rumble. And then I try and get my team out. Or as much as I can. Noticing how I'm just trying to get as much CC as possible, but also delay for the Talon. Now, in hindsight, this is probably not the best 3v3 you've ever seen. We don't know where Fiddle is. We haven't been able to track him for the last couple of minutes. Talon is, 1-0. But he's down in CS, and as we could see from the first time we ganked his lane, he's not actually a very good player. So again, this is something that's really important to note is if your teammates are good players or not, and then treat them accordingly. So give them the benefit of the doubt on the first gank or so, but then understand, okay, if I'm ganking this guy again, he might not use his ignite, he might use his flash too late, he might not combo properly. Whatever he's doing, he's not having his best game, or he's just a bad player. I need to play around that and take that into account whenever I am near this guy and whenever I'm participating in a fight with him. So I set up my engage, obviously being very aggressive because 1, I know Talon's here, but 2, I've also got my passive up, Cell Division for Zac. So if I do get killed here, at least the blobs come out and I have a little bit extra protection. However, unfortunately, Talon kind of tunnel visions for the Varus, which means I die and we don't actually get any kills. Fiddle comes over and ults, which is very smart of him, and I actually pretty much end up baiting both my teammates. Fiddle gets the kill, Talon dies here, but Ezreal gets out. So in the end, we died 2 for none there, and puts us behind quite a bit of gold in the game. So put us behind about 1k gold in total. Now the good thing is Teemo is again quite a good player. We saw him get his first blood on his own. While he's down in CS, we've now gotten him 2 kills. And now what he's doing is he knows Fiddle's bot now. And what he's doing is he's pushed in his wave. He's going, okay, what else can I do to help influence this game? I'm going to take red buff. So he takes the enemy red buff, which is a really nice play by Fiddle and helps me out a lot. So I go back to doing all my jungle camps, nothing crazy here. Again, using my sweepers to clear vision where I think I could be spotted, making sure that they're not tracking me. And now I see Teemo pathing, but I also notice that Talon is in quite an aggressive standpoint. So I use my control ward here because I know Dragon's up. And then I go to clear Scuttle, as it has scaling gold and XP value, which is very useful. Now, notice what I do here. I set up a gank before Talon's even here. But what I don't realize is that Talon's not actually helping me. And again, you know, I should have known this in hindsight, that this Talon isn't the best player. I should wait for my engage to at least be that I know he's definitely going to come help me. But instead, he comes a bit late. I'm still able to do quite a bit of damage here and pretty much almost get the solo kill. Talon finishes it off, and then we're able to eventually kill the Fiddle, I believe. No, never mind. So we end up getting the kill, even though Talon came quite late to the fight. I was able to do so much in that all he had to do was come in and clean up. So again, I immediately path to bot 1 because I'm on comms with my Ezreal, but 2, I haven't cleared my Krugs yet, and 3, we just saw them clear vision here. And as we know, Zac can actually gank from a multitude of areas. So I'm now down here, 1, to protect them from a Fiddle turret dive, which is kind of unlikely, but 2, also, if we can get a gank while they're overextended, when they have this false sense of safety, in terms of they've got Tribush warded and warded here, we can actually do something with that. So I back, so noticing I'm actually ready for a gank here if it is on. I probably waste a bit of time here. I think I end up recalling, nope. I keep resetting because we now know Fiddle could be here. So now again, we know Fiddle might be here. We don't know where he is. And I end up backing because I'm just wasting too much time here. Whereas Fiddle actually uses his patience very well. And I come back. Now Fiddle's still wasting time here. Varus is now baiting really well. And then Fiddle gets the perfect ult off, killing Ezreal, and then finishing up on the Lulu. So really good gank by them. I realize that they're doing that, and so I go, okay, what can I take on the other side of the map? Teemo's already started Rift Herald, so okay, I'm going to help him finish that, and then let's use Rift either mid or top to get some platings. And again, we have no bot pressure, so I know that I cannot contest this, so I come out and help Teemo take Rift. I let him take it. He can do with it what he wants. And then I go to here because I know Fiddle is taking Dragon. What else can I take from this Fiddle to at least try and trade for this Dragon? We can take Rift, but I can also take his Raptors, set up a really cheeky ward here, and also take the Golems. Krugs. Now, he set up Rift Herald. Irelia uses her TP, so I'm going to look potentially for a turret dive here. Now, they now know I'm here, and I know they're here because of this ward, but Fiddle will now soon find out that I have just been top, so I need to watch out with what I do here next. So I see Fiddle clear this, and now look what I do. I don't show myself, I don't try and contest this, I actually set myself up for a counter gank. So this is patience, and understanding that, okay, Teemo's 2-0, okay, Fiddle just used his ult bot lane, so it's not back up yet. I've got my ult, I've got my flash smite. This could be a really good 2v2 because we've got this Shroom here, and because Irelia is not actually going to be able to get in this fight as quick as I can. So notice how I wait for my slingshot until Fiddle is about to hit the Shroom, and then we CC him to death. and then I go for Irelia as well, saving my Q, and then what we end up doing is burning the Rumble TP, but also killing killing Irelia as well in the process. So we end up getting a 2-for-1 here, and I'm pretty sure I get out here. Or do I actually fight this? Yep, so perfect. A 3-for-1 for Teemo's death. And again, notice how Rumble has actually been almost in every single fight before a Talon. Now, obviously we think, oh, a Talon, he should always be at the fight first because he's a roaming champion. That's his natural playstyle. However, again, because we identified Talon as a bad player earlier, we have to take this into account that, okay, he's probably not going to be where he should be in most situations. Now, again, this control ward saves me here because I know, oh shit, Fiddle's here. I'm going to take his red. Now, obviously, I know I outsmite him, so this is kind of a numbers game as well. He panic smites, wastes his smite with, 284 HP left, and then I just use my smite. I use the blasting cone to get out, and then I reset. Notice how I'm buying a Spectre's Cow first, because Rumble is quite strong. Also Fiddle is, and Nort has 3 kills as well. So Varus and Irelia aren't too scary yet. And naturally, health counters both these champions. While Irelia's building Blade the Ruin King, I'm not too worried about her yet because she's 0-3. The only champion I'm slightly worried about who's AD is Varus, but because he's going lethality, all I have to do is build health, and it's a really good counter to it. So again, I rotate to bot side jungle. Obviously now seeing Fiddle and Rumble here, and knowing that Nort was there, we notice that we don't know why, in hindsight, why these two are here, but I immediately take this as a cue to gank. So I sit here, wait for the perfect time. I end up missing my slingshot, but I managed to get the Q. I know I've got Spectre's Cowl and Cinderhulk, so I know I can 2v1 this quite comfortably. All I need Talon to do is a little bit of damage, which he ends up eventually doing here. But in the end, I pretty much have to get this kill solo, which I end up doing. I flash because I know Irelia's miss, so I don't want this fight to go for too long. I then reuse my control ward here to make sure she doesn't know where I am. I have cell division, so I'm doing a slightly risky jump here because I know Teemo's here and I know Talon's here. Unfortunately, again, we know Talon's a bad player, but I assume that he knows what I'm doing here. And so, I miss my slingshot, I don't hit my other form of CC, but at least Irelia thinks she gets a kill on me, when really I've got cell division up, so I actually bait her perfectly, and Talon and Teemo clean up, and eventually I get the reset, and then I again look for Varus here. But I know I'm warded because he backed off quite quickly. Notice again, I'm not using this because there's no real point. There's not much vision that they could have that I'm worried about at the moment. So I'd rather save this up for when Dragon spawns. So go back to clearing. Backing, obviously, because I'm now at 1.4k gold. As a jungler, you always want to try and back between about 1k and 1.5 gold. The higher you get, so basically diamond and above, you ideally want to be always basing it around 1 to 1.5k, because if you don't base at that time, you're actually going to fall behind in terms of power spikes. Now, what I mean by that is your enemy jungler, on average, is going to be way more efficient than the average gold, silver, bronze jungler. So you need to be buying your items as efficiently as possible, which means every single 1 to 1.5k you need to be backing, because if you're not, you've got 1.5k in the bank that you haven't yet spent, which is ideally limiting your power and influence on the game. as it's just sitting there in gold and not in actual items. So again, I know dragon spawning in the next minute. So immediately I path bot lane, even though I don't have any camps up. But we see Talon come in early. We see Rumble again kind of out-rotating this Talon to an extent. He gets out, and well played by my duo laner and my Lulu. And then I get a really nice slingshot here. I hit I miss my Q again. I think that's the third Q I've missed here, so really bad. That's something I'm now going to make a mental note of and actually write down on a notepad. So I'm going to write that down in a second after the game that I need to work on my Zac Qs. I also need to work on my slingshots because I'm not hitting them as much as I need to. And those are two super easy forms of CC on Zac that I am constantly missing. So even though I'm 4-1-5 this game, you know, I've been in 9 out of our 12 kills, I'm still missing crucial micro things that I wouldn't get away with if I was in a slightly higher elo, so plat or diamond, for example. Luckily, I have now 2 cloth armors, Kindle Gems, Spectres, Merc Treads, and Cinderhulk, and I can basically tank 3 of their players at once, hoping that Lulu, Ezreal, and Talon might be able to do something here. Now notice I'm waiting for my ult, so I'm trying to get in a really good position. And now I go back in. And then I use my ult once it's up. Obviously I'm silenced. There, get that kill. Come back. Get the CC again. So Ezreal and Lulu end up dying for it. So a little bit too ham by me. I end up dying as well, which gives Rumble a 400 gold. But at least Talon cleans up. But it ends up being a 3 for 3 there. 3 for 4 actually. So we do end up winning that in terms of kills. But they get more gold in terms of shutdown bonus. So not the smartest play by myself. I've now got my Spirit Visage, as you can see, and I'm going to clear my jungle again. Notice how I'm quite far behind in CS, and I know this, and I'm okay with this because of just how much I'm influencing the fight. I'm at the stage where I've got a Spirit Visage and a Cinderhulk, and I'm also staying even with Fiddle on levels. So I know, okay, I might be behind 30 CS or whatever, but I'm still ahead in gold, because I know that because I've gotten more kills than he has, and I've been in just as many assists, and I'm also on the same XP, and right now, my win condition for my team that's been working out for most of this game is the more I gank, the more chances my team has to win early game, and therefore transition well into late game and mid game as well. Again, Teemo showing really good initiative. So this game, Teemo got a first blood on his own, stole red buff, initiated Rift Herald, and has now initiated the next dragon, letting us secure that, all because of his proactive gameplay. Now let's slow this fight down a bit. I'm going over here because I want to get a flank. It's a bit awkward, but I know that these 3 I'm probably not going to be able to kill. And also my team's pretty much all dead, and my Ezreal isn't even in the fight. So what I should do here is ping on my way. Instead, Talon pings that he's going in. I ping danger. I then charge up my E. Well played by Talon. He ends up getting that. Again, missing another Q. I've now missed, I think, 5 crucial Qs that might have actually saved my teammates, but also made these kills a lot easier. I notice how I used my CC to get a knock up on both Nautilus and Varus. Use my E again to further CC. Use my smite to confirm the kill. and then rotate over here because I know I have to protect my Ezreal. Now again, in hindsight, Ezreal should not turret dive a 3-1 Naught, but he goes for it anyway. Naught, I don't even think has a bounty on him at the moment. Yes, he doesn't. So he also ends up running the wrong way. So in hindsight, he might have had his flash up in time to maybe tank an extra turret hit and walk this way. Instead, he walks back into the fiddle, which in hindsight, we knew where he was because he wasn't on the map anywhere else. So again, I use this time to push in this wave, get a little bit of extra CS and XP. I'm now level 12 versus Fiddle's level 11. And then I rotate because I haven't actually been to my topside jungle in quite a while. I then go to secure my last Rift Herald. There's 30 seconds left. I ping that I'm asking for assistance. I know Teemo's going to help me because he's helped me before in the game secure Rift. And hopefully my Talon or my Lulu might come and help me as well. Because I only have now 25 seconds or less than to secure this Rift Herald before Baron comes in. So notice this game I get both Rift Heralds and I prioritize both Rift Heralds. Obviously I have my team help me in both cases, which is really important when you're playing tanky junglers like Zac. But Zac can still solo Rift Heralds. It just takes a little bit longer and is slightly more dangerous. But now we get to use the power of 2 Rift Heralds to help us push. And the reason I value Rift Heralds so much in every elo, but particularly anything below Diamond, is because of just how easy it makes pushing. As we know, it's notoriously hard in solo queue to get players to queue up and push together when everyone wants to. A really good indicator to get people to push is either securing Baron or summoning Rift Herald in a lane. Because generally, it's a visual reminder, but also just a mental cue for some reason that makes everyone go, oh, let's group, or oh, let's try and get this Rift Herald to get as many platings as possible. And it's for some reason so much more effective than telling your team, hey guys, we've got a really good team fight. Let's group now. Instead, just summon the Rift Herald, and I guarantee you, the majority of the time, your teammates are going to either respond by helping you push with the Rift Herald, or split pushing and getting, twice the amount of turrets you could normally get. So notice, again, now our Talon is actually roaming before the Rumble, and he's now a 7-2, which is a really good sign. They get the kill before Rumble even comes. And I know I can turret dive. 1, because I've got Cell Division up. 2, because I've got Flash up. 3, because I've got Ult up. And 4, because look at my items. I have 2.7k health right now. So I can tank a tier 1 turret at 20 minutes, but also try and kill both of these noobs. I get a really nice E off, immediately burn Rumble's flash, and I think I hit my first Q, honestly, of, my first Q that I gank with in, 20 minutes. So I'm really happy with that. I flash ulti to get the immediate CC. I tank for my team because I know Talon and Lulu and Ezreal cannot tank a turret for very long, whereas I've got a lot of items to do it. Now, he actually does a really good Zhonya's there, but luckily I pick up that blob to tank just enough, get Cell Division out, and then my team can clear this. So pretty well played by Rumble, but he had really no chance in actually making this work. He does end up killing my teammate though, which is again pretty sad. But it's only a matter of time now before we kill him. He now has no flash, and I pretty much get the free CC. Perfect. So again, while I've been ganking a lot this game, and I've been in 17 of our 22 kills, every single time I have ganked, so while I'm doing the gank, so I'm actually always ganking enough, when I actually gank, my micro in the gank is actually really bad. So that's something important that I need to note. Okay, I ganked a lot this game, but how good were my ganks? Oh, I actually got a lot of kills with my ganks, but could I have made those ganks better? And will I get away with how badly I executed those games in higher elo? Probably not. Okay, next game, next 20 games I play on Zac, I need to focus on hitting my Q and maximizing my CC kit. Speed up again. None of this really matters. Obviously, I'm wanting to use Rift Herald soon, ideally when the next dragon spawns, so that we get pressure with the Rift Herald, but also get to secure the next dragon with it. It doesn't work out, though, because obviously you can see on the timer that they get the next one. I see a fight here. I noticed Lulu got caught, but I also noticed that I'm really tanky now, so again, I'm pretty happy to get into a fight like this. I use my ult on 3 champions. Notice again how tanky I am. While in hindsight, I probably should have backed out after I kill Rumble. I instead go in. Really silly. Again, give a 450 shutdown. So again, I'm ganking well in terms of my frequency and my volume. But when I actually get into my gank, I'm playing the micro and the actual gank motions very badly. And 2, I'm dying in quite stupid situations. So I'm not understanding when to pull back a bit and when to, you know, reset mentally and understand that, okay, right now in a 2v4 with just me and Lulu, we don't have tempo to actually win a 5v2. No matter how strong Lulu is, no matter how good I am, we just don't have the damage to win a 5v2. And in hindsight, while we get 1 kill, I give Irelia a shutdown goal, which now puts her really back into the game. And gives them free pressure to get turret. Good thing is, Teemo and Talon were split pushing, so at least they were adding pressure to the map. But as a result of my cockiness, we end up losing this turret while we get tier 2 because of my teammates' good play. We also end up losing Dragon. Even though I know we're going to lose Dragon, I still immediately rotate to Dragon to see if we can get a fight because my whole team's here. And I spawn Rift because I don't have any time left. And then I ping to my team, hey, let's group around Rift. See, notice how everyone just conjures to the Rift, like naturally. Sure, we did a couple of pings. No, it's actually the enemy pinging. We naturally come to the Rift because we know it's a really good tool to push. And look, I protect it quite well. We actually end up, while he gets baited, we end up doing quite well in the rest of this. I think Teemo dies here. I think so might I. Or do I use my E to get out? No, I think I end up dying here. So again, really bad by me. Irelia gets the triple kill. At least Lulu gets out. But that's also a case of, while Rift helped us group, it actually pretty much gave us an int. Or we basically inted off it. But they also played that very well. Again, they go for Baron here. Talon plays it really well. By at least trading 1 for 1, meaning that the Baron resets and they can no longer do it. Really good sign. I immediately back off, knowing I have to catch up and make sure I'm staying at least even in terms of XP. And knowing that I can't really get to this fight in a realistic time. Now, again, I now kind of mentally reset and go, okay, who's one of our strongest players and who can I trust? Teemo, he's been playing well all game. He's been really consistent. I trust him. Okay, let's try and help this Teemo either push this turret or get a kill on Rumble. In hindsight, I could be doing this Gromp while waiting, but the gank never actually comes on, and I just waste pretty much 10 seconds. But notice I still stay here, and now Talon's here as well. And Rumble comes. As soon as Rumble comes into vision, I charge my E. Again, I miss my Q. So, 7th time I think I've missed my Q. Already a weak area that I've identified, so I don't need to go into it too much more. I tank turret. Notice how I tank turret for as long as possible. And then I use my E to jump out. Again, I play this quite well, getting my Q at least hit that time. Notice how I'm retreating, but my team isn't. So in hindsight, I'm trying to retreat, but then I get the reset. We play this really well. Me and my duo Q, we're communicating this whole time. He heals me perfectly, and we end up just getting away. I think I get off on 16 health. And that's, you know, the benefit of being on comms. Him and I were talking throughout that entire process, going, hey, this is what we're going to do. I'll tank, then you come in and engage at the end, and then hopefully, you know, I'll somehow survive. And we end up getting the inhib all off a play that kind of went pretty badly for our team, but in the end, I was able to, through communication with my duo queue partner, turn the fight around and get ourselves an inhib. And again, we're talking to each other the whole time, saying, okay, let's get the inhib and then back. I'm happy to die for this inhib if possible, but I actually end up getting out. Now, this whole time, we're both saying, let's just get out, let's just get out. And then I go, oh shit, actually, we might be able to turn this. So again, being way too cocky, going for a high-risk play when we don't need to. We just got a quadra kill and inhib. Why I want to re-engage this, I kind of want to do it to protect my Ezreal because I know he's on a 500 bounty, but I also want to do it because I think the tempo's with us and I'm being way too aggressive. So again, over-aggression. A really weak point in this game that I know I do in a lot of my games. Particularly when I have a nice little lead. Luckily, we're on comms again, so we kind of play this well. We switch positions, which isn't the best, but he's able to get a bit of damage off. There, I'm able to split into cell division, and then I again am talking to him going, hey, can you try and protect me here? I jump, I flash immediately, smite, we get the kill. I immediately again tell him to back off now because Irelia's here. We just need to play super safe. But again, I know he might not make it here, so I use my ult to protect him. And then I keep kiting back, noticing how I'm protecting my Ezreal the whole time. And a really well played play by us, although at the end that was very high risk, low reward. We ended up only killing the Varus for that. But then it lets us get Baron. So again, our Teemo with the useful cross-map play, starting Baron off for our team, really nicely played. And then Dragon's up as well. But I don't think we even go for Dragon. Oh, no, we do. Do? No, I don't think we do. Anyway. Notice how I'm not positioning here or here. I'm actually getting a really nice flank position here if they do start the rift. And I'm trying to stay out of vision for as long as possible. Notice, see, I'm still staying out of vision. And I'm trying to engage on the Varus, not the Nort and Rumble. Let's see. Again, I missed my Q. I think that's the 9th or 8th time I've missed my Q. We see Varus over here. I use my sweeper to reduce their vision because now I'm looking to prioritize Dragon if we can. And that's a free Dragon. And a kill. So well played by Talon at the end there. I back reset. I've now got Warmog, Spirit Visage, Cinder, and Bramble Vest just for Irelia and Fiddlesticks. In case they start getting a bit too strong, I've got some healing reduction to help take them away. But this is pretty much the end of the game. We just use Baron to split push. Obviously, we int a little bit here. I protect the Lulu. I eventually run the Irelia down. And we basically win the game here. So, pretty basic VOD review. Basically, what it shows is how to play Zac in high-ish elo. So, how to play Zac climbing into, in gold elo, climbing into plat. And, how important gank frequency is, even if your micro or your champion play on an individual champion level isn't that good. As long as you're doing a lot of ganks, you can actually still pull it off. I end up being in 30 out of 39 of our kills. And we end up ending the game in 30 minutes when ideally a couple of my deaths, a couple of my missed CC opportunities probably could have ended this game about 5 minutes earlier. Anyway, guys, that's the VOD review for Zach in How to Climb into Plat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I've also got some links in the description below on how to get your 50% off your first VOD review with myself. But also, if you haven't yet, get your free profile review with me. Anyway, guys, good luck on the Rift, and I hope to see you soon.